I'll admit, looking ahead to Battleground this Sunday, I'm not that incredibly excited about the show. Just don't really have a very good vibe about it. Maybe it's the fact that the company seems to be more concerned with promoting the WWE network than making sure that they give us the best possible product that they can on said WWE network. Even with that said, though, I do like the fact that they have 7 announced matches ahead of time for this show, what looks like an actual complete full match card. All the matches on the card have a purpose, have a reason. You've got a pre-show match that also has a reason and a purpose, but is also perfectly placed on this show as the kickoff pre-show match. So even with my lack of excitement about the show in general, there are still things that I like about the setup of Battleground, and I hope the WWE gives us a good show on Sunday. I'd assume the match that's going to kick off the show is the Intercontinental Championship Battle Royal, and that's fine with me. I think that's a perfect place for it. A good way to maybe kick off the show. When I look at all the people that are involved in this match, I see probably 4 guys that you could make an argument for one reason or another winning this match. You've got Bo Dallas, you've got Sheamus, you've got Cesaro, and you've got The Miz. I say Cesaro because if they're going to split him off from Paul Heyman for a little bit, you kind of need to give him something in order to have some relevancy, in order for him to actually get at least a little bit of a push on TV, so there's a possibility there. You look at Sheamus, he's a Breakfast Club member. There's always a possibility there, and if the WWE wants to take the United States champion and have him have the IC championship and kind of merge the 2 belts, then again, I could definitely see that happening. I think Bo Dallas would work as an Intercontinental Champion because he'll wrestle every week on television. His storyline, as much as anything else, is his character himself, but you could actually have some good storylines with him. And I think with the way you're going with that gimmick, you could add some meaning to that IC title by giving Bo Dallas a relatively lengthy run. For my money at this point, though, probably the best choice as Intercontinental Champion would have to be The Miz. I've always felt Miz was a really good mid-card champion, and whenever he's been the mid-card champion, it's always been one of those things where they feature him as a star and they make him a big deal, and it elevates the profile of that belt. You remember how he was as a United States champion. They always made sure they had a feud for him. He always got television time, and they presented him like a star. So I'm kind of left hoping that with this heel turn for The Miz, this necessary heel turn, that they do the right thing come Sunday, and that is put the Intercontinental Championship on him and let him have a run with it. Swagger versus Rusev should be interesting, and no, it probably won't be a technical masterpiece, and no, it doesn't need to be a technical masterpiece. Here's again another instance of a match where Rusev is involved, and you get that type of powerhouse, big fight feel type of match, and I kind of like that, especially as a compliment to a lot of the other stuff that you see on a WWE pay-per-view card. Now, I hope that they actually go with this storyline past Battleground, that this isn't the end, that they go on to SummerSlam. I would assume Rusev is going to win here, and again, I'm okay with that. The only problem with this is if you're doing a nationalistic thing, at some point in time, you would think the guy representing the good old USA, Jack Swagger, would have to go over, but I actually doubt it. I'm assuming that they're serving up Swagger here for Rusev to go over, and you could do it here. You could have Rusev beat him. And then you can maybe have Swagger after the match. They get into it, and he puts him in the Patriot lock, and he makes either Rusev tap or Rusev keeps going until he passes out. And then you've got another reason for a match at SummerSlam. I'm curious to see what they do with this match and how they book it, and if it's going to be the end of the road or if they're going to continue to go with it, because I think this does have a little bit of legs heading into next month. I think you can hear the general lack of excitement heading into this pay-per-view Sunday in my voice, and that's something I try to fight, but hey, sometimes you're a reflection of what they give you, and the WWE's not giving me a lot of reason to be excited, so I don't have much in the way of reason to be excited. I look at this tag title match between the Wyatt family and the Usos, and these teams have touched too much with too little reason to touch for me to really care, and especially now you're giving me a 2 out of 3 falls match. I'm sure the match will be fine, but they're going to have to work very hard, actually, to get me interested in the match, and that's just the way it is. And I would assume the Wyatt family is going to go over here, and then maybe their next feud is going to be with the Dust Devils or the Dust Twins, whatever you want to call them. I just look at the whole Usos tag title reign, and I'm like, it's okay, but damn it all, it could have been so much more. One thing I think the WWE is definitely lacking in 2014 are great storylines and great rivalries. I mean, what is there really? Obviously, Daniel Bryan versus The Authority is the storyline of the year. You know, even things like Cena and Wyatt, that escalated into a John Cena disaster very quickly. Shield versus Evolution was good to a degree, but, you know, then Shield kept beating Evolution and da da da. I think perhaps the storyline of the summer, at least to me right now, for the WWE has to be Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. This is the most interesting and entertaining thing by and large they have going on with their product right now. And you reach this critical moment here at Battleground. You could sit there and take these two future stars. You could sit there and take these two guys that are in the most engaging and entertaining feud in your company right now and have them go out there and steal the show and put on a great wrestling match and kind of have that be the end of it. Or you could do maybe what I would suggest, and that is do something entirely different. Really, really put the fucking coals on the fire of this rivalry, really get it scorching, and really build yourself up to a fucking mega monster match between these two at SummerSlam that could maybe even carry over into Night of Champions. When I think about Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins, I say just because they could go out there and steal the show in 15 minutes with a regular wrestling match doesn't mean that they should. In my opinion, you should do something entirely different. No decisive bullshit, none of this, none of that. Fucking as soon as you play the video packages to hype up the match, to set the table for the match, you cut to the cameras backstage, maybe have Michael Cole say, whoa, 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 something's going on backstage. You know, try and create some spontaneity here. Try to create something different here. And here's Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins fucking fighting backstage. And then it comes out to the ramp. And then it goes into the fucking ring. And then it goes by the announce table. They're hitting each other with chairs. They're hitting each other with kendo sticks. They're throwing each other into the barriers. They're fucking slamming each other through the announce table. They go through the fucking crowd. They go out into the concourse. They go fighting out of the fucking arena to the point where the cameras can't keep up with them anymore. I guarantee you this much. If you did something like that, you'd really, really, really have the people wanting something more out of these guys at SummerSlam and maybe even Night of Champions. And all the while, you will be doing something that is incredibly different. You could put it right smack dab in the middle of the show, and it would still have the potential to steal the fucking night and be the thing that people most talk about. You could do all of this, and you could really make these two guys into freaking huge stars doing something like this. So I hope the WWE, even though I would assume it wouldn't happen, goes away from doing the traditional boring blow-off wrestling match and truly does something different. As far as this Divas Championship match between Paige and AJ Lee, I hope that the WWE gives it, 6 to 8 minutes, actually gives the girls enough time to attempt to go out there and tell a story, an attempt to actually put on not necessarily a good Divas match, but just a good wrestling match, period. What I'm really curious to see is how they're going to book this match and how they're going to book both of these ladies and how they're going to book the finish and how they're going to book the aftermath of the finish. Because the WWE, in this case, it's one of these things you could have dove right in and just struck right away, or you could back off and go a little bit slower. And sometimes that's not the right move, and sometimes that can be exactly the right move. And let's hope the WWE is playing this out at least enough to where this is something that could carry through for the Divas division through SummerSlam and through Night of Champions. So I'm curious to see how they do with AJ Lee as a face, and I'm curious to see when and how they actually turn Paige heel. And I would assume it would happen here at the end of this match, maybe after AJ Lee finds a way to retain, hell, even with the fucking roll-up. It was funny, a few weeks ago, I was talking to Deluxe Man, and one of the names that I brought up that the WWE maybe needed because of the situation and circumstances heading into SummerSlam and Night of Champions was Chris Jericho, because he could kind of be that utility guy that you could pair with somebody that maybe didn't have anything else going on. And I was saying, maybe you throw Jericho at a Bray Wyatt. And that's exactly what the WWE did here. Unfortunately, this is one of these instances where I think the WWE did dive all in right away And I don't necessarily agree that it was the right decision because I'm looking at Chris Jericho and I'm looking at Bray Wyatt. And I feel like, if anything, even if this show was underwhelming to me heading in, even if I wasn't all that excited about the card heading into it, this should be the match that I sit there and say, my God, this has special attraction written all over it. But instead, I'm just not that buzzed about this. I'm just not that excited about this. And even with the way I see they've been incorporating the Wyatt family into this, they've done very little back and forth between actual Wyatt and Jericho. It's just to get to Rowan and Harper beating down Jericho. Now, if you sit there and you do it here at this show, where you sit there and you have Wyatt win, but it's because of interference, or you have him lose via disqualification because of interference, fine, so be it. But again, I implore the WWE in this feud that I'm assuming is going to run through Night of Champions, you have to find a way here, either at Battleground or at SummerSlam, based off the dynamics of the people that are involved, to put Chris Jericho over. I hope the WWE does the right thing here, actually, and puts Chris Jericho over Bray Wyatt at Battleground.
All I know is this. Nobody gives a shit about the rest of this matches on this card. The only one that anybody cares about is the WWE, World Heavyweight Championship. It's when 3 other jobber jabronis get their comeuppance at the hands of the Samoan stud muffin Roman Reigns. Oh my God, his time is here. His time is now. And come Sunday, he better damn well be the next WWE World Heavyweight Champion. WWE, you can take your plan C and stick it where the sun don't shine. It's Roman Reigns' time, because Roman Reigns rules. Hell yeah, bitches. Roman, love yous. Call me Roman.
Then we get to the main event that the dog already alluded to, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship Fatal 4-Way. And I'm hoping this isn't Fatal 4-Way, because this match with these 4 individuals are going to be fatal to our ability to staying awake through the end of the show. I get the sense that this match could potentially be a snoozer. But at the same token, I get the sense that this match could pleasantly surprise. What I can't wait for in this match is that inevitable moment where the WWE and Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon backstage, and even Triple H, are getting their jollies and rocks off to John Cena and Randy Orton having a face-off, and the crowd either does one or two things, does absolutely nothing, or they boo the fucking shit out of it. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see Roman Reigns, kind of show himself as being more ready for that big spotlight than people are maybe anticipating at this point. Because as I talked about in my video saying, screw option or plan C WWE, here's option D. This whole thing about Roman Reigns not being ready. Let's keep in mind, he's been around almost 2 years now. He has some signature victories. Maybe he's not perfectly ready like you might expect, but we've seen other instances in the past, whether it be Brock Lesnar or Sheamus, where there have been times where they've rocket shipped a guy to the fucking title. And, my whole thing about this is that if it gets to the inevitable ending where John Cena reigns over 3 other individuals and wins the fucking match, it's like, oh, come on. We sit here and Cena's trying to sell these barriers and sell these obstacles. Dude, you are the barrier. You are the obstacle. Why are you so fucking worried about it? I'm curious to see how they feature Roman Reigns in a dominant kind of spotlighted way and then also try to protect him. I would assume that Kane or Randy Orton is likely to eat the pinfall here. I would assume more likely that Kane is going to be the one that Roman Reigns completely obliterates and takes out, and then maybe it's Randy Orton that eats the pinfall. If they have Roman Reigns eat the pinfall here on John Cena and they don't go with this heading into SummerSlam and Night of Champions as their title feud, then fuck this company. So let me know down below how you're feeling about Battleground heading into Sunday, what your predictions for the show itself are, and then how you think the show is ultimately going to go. Is it going to be good, great, bad, terrible, kind of in between? Let me know all that. I want to hear from you.